Hi, good afternoon. We're here with Matt Goldberg from Stocklot World. How you doing, Matt?
I'm very well, thank you. How are
Good
you?
stuff. Yeah, really good. Thank you. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. If
You're
you'd
welcome.
just like to, give us a bit of background as to who you are, what the business is, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Sure. So I've been involved in my industry for quite a lot of years, since about 1992. So I'm literally
Okay.
in my 30th year in this industry. So it involves sourcing and buying surplus and excess goods from businesses,
Yeah.
basically. So businesses that sell physical products, we buy their surplus goods that they have, that they're
Yeah.
sitting on in their warehouse, that they simply want to get rid of, for various reasons. That can be, goods that are surplus to requirements, slow
Sure.
moving goods, cancelled orders, liquidated stock, that kind of stock. So it's basically excess goods that we source and we buy off businesses, and then we basically sell those goods on to other businesses that want to buy those goods. And
Sure.
that's what I've been doing for many, many years. Yeah.
30 years. That's a good stint there. I'm sure you've
Since
seen a lot.
before the internet. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to say you've seen a lot of changes over the time.
very much so. Yeah.
So kind of fast forwarding a bit to the last 2 or 3 years over those 30 years, we ask everyone around about COVID and how that's obviously impacted them. What was the biggest impact for you in your sector and what you do?
Well, the biggest impact for me was that I probably had my one of my best years ever through the pandemic, and that was for the simple reason that my line of business, my industry, we actually thrive in, pandemics, recessions, bad economies, wars, anything bad that happens in the economy. My line of business actually thrives, and there's just a lot more opportunity in these situations. And obviously with the pandemic, there were a lot of industries that literally closed down.
Yeah.
And that just creates more opportunities for my kind of business, because obviously a lot of companies are basically sitting on a lot of stock. And my background is the food and drink industry, even though I'm involved in lots of industries now. But with the food and drink industry obviously being very affected in the pandemic, obviously a lot of food and drink products were sitting in warehouses, literally going out of date. And, the time was running out on a lot of this stock. So obviously, they were having to clear a lot of this inventory to companies like myself. If you think about it, the supply chain, a lot of businesses that supplied, for example, the restaurant chains and the hotel industries, and all those businesses were closed. So, they were piled up with pallets of goods that were literally running out of expiry date. So we bought a lot of that and literally helped this stock stay in circulation, as opposed to ending up in, landfill, basically.
Yeah, producing the waste and actually getting it
Yeah,
used.
for sure. So yeah, with any kind of downturn, and I've been through, if you include what we call a recession now, or we're coming up to one, I'm literally in my third recession, and every single time I've hit a recession or some kind of downturn, my business just literally doubles or triples in business. We just explode.
Obviously there's a lot more demand for what you do in
Yeah.
those periods.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
as a business then, in terms of the pandemic and maybe actions you had to take to adapt, is there anything that you kind of maybe changed and stuck with?
I think, with the pandemic was such a huge thing, and it really hit home with a lot of people. you know, as far as being, you know, where you work from, and, you know, a lot more people are now working remotely, and that really hit home with me. And I realized that I can do what I do remotely a lot more than I used to. And I started to think of more ways of doing things without being glued to my office. And, you know, I can literally run most of my operation from my mobile phone. And, you know, what really hit home more was, I'm sure a lot of people are the same, that, you know, it's not all about being glued to your desk and working and working. I can spend more time with my family and literally keep up with what I need to do just from my mobile phone. So yeah, I'm definitely working more remotely now, rather than
more of a flexible
approach
to your work. Yeah, cool. Thank you for that. So in terms of where things are now, what do you see looking ahead the future is for you, and what do you see are the main challenges going ahead?
The future for me, because I'm not going to give away my age, but because I've been in the business for a long time, and I'm always looking at ways of leveraging my business in literally buying back time. So I can actually spend more time doing things out of my business, and just creating more methods on making things work more not remotely, more in a more automated way. So I can literally still make more money, but work less. You know, because I'm a one-man business, but I do a lot of things in my business that are remote, so automated. Sorry, so I can work less hours, but still earn more money doing it.
Systemize it, and as you say,
definitely systemizing more,
automate things.
Yeah.
Cool. So are there any sort of challenges that you foresee? Is it a case, I mean, I suppose with the economy the way it is, then you're looking forward to growth, I suppose.
Challenge wise, for my business, we're always looking at ways. I'm a great believer in building new connections. Literally, I'm obsessed with it, building new connections every day. And the reason I do that is because there can be challenges in my industry where you might be dealing with specific customers who literally disappear, you know, through the downturn, you know, especially retailers, high street retailers you can be dealing with, and then all of a sudden they go bankrupt, or they disappear off the high street. So that is a challenge for us all the time, finding new buyers for this, you know, this inventory that we're constantly being offered by businesses. We're always looking for new customers. You know, we're never satisfied with just dealing with the same customers all the time. You've got to be looking for new outlets all the time, whether it's online or offline.
Cool, thank you. And moving on then to yourself as a business owner, a lot of experience there, 30 years. You can pull out one learning, your biggest learning. What do you think that would be? If you can choose one, you might want to share a couple. I appreciate it's a tricky question.
I mean, resilience is certainly one thing that I've built over the years, and you certainly do need that as a one-man business. You come up against walls, like most businesses do, on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. And when you're a one-man business, you kind of asking yourselves questions all the time and trying to think of the right answers and making the right decisions all the time. And you're going to hit walls, and you've got to learn to jump over the walls and go under the walls and go around the side of the walls. And resilience for me is something that I've built over the years. And I consider myself like bulletproof when it comes to being resilient. And, you know, that is something that everyone needs to have when running their own business, for sure. You've got to build that resilience. And, you know, when you come up against things, you've got to have that armor. You've got to have that armor on when you're dealing with things. And yes, for sure, resilience is something that people say to me, and my friends say to me, you're the most resilient person I've ever met. You know, you can handle anything and deal with anything, and it doesn't matter what it is. And that is, for me, that's a great trait to have in a business, being resilient. Yeah,
definitely. It's a good share. Thank you for that. So it might lead on to maybe the answer to your next question, or link to it, or but we'll see. So if you were to give some advice to a younger person starting out in business, or we also ask entrepreneurs, business people, if they were to meet themselves at 18, what would the best piece of advice be to that younger person?
I would give a couple of pieces of advice, and these are probably my main two most important things. And the first one is failure is okay. And a lot of people don't look at failure as being okay. People look at failure as something bad and, oh, I failed at something. But the thing is with failure is, when you're young, you don't realize this, but when you fail with things through your years in different jobs or job positions or whatever in your career, failure is good. Okay, you've got to look at failure as a good thing, because you're learning from that failure. You're always learning from that thing that you failed on. And when I fail at things, the way I look at failures is almost like data. I look at it as data, and then I can look at what I've done wrong, or why it didn't work out. And I'll look at the data, and I will tweak things, and I will change things and test things. And that's what you've got to be doing all the time when you're failing. You've got to fail fast, as they say. And there's nothing wrong with failing whatsoever. It's just a learning curve. That's all it is. And the second thing I would give to a lot of young people, and especially in today's, you know, today where we're very, there's a lot of stuff going on with young people, with social media. People are looking at other people all the time. Oh, he's doing well. Look at how much he's making, and that kind of thing. And the thing is with a lot of young people nowadays, what I see is that they want to make a lot of money, and they want to make a lot of money very quickly, and they're not patient. So that's my second thing, is be patient with whatever you do. Even if that thing that you're doing doesn't work out, give it some time. Like, I play the long game with everything that I do in business. If I make a new connection, I don't expect to do business with them and make money from them today or in a week or a month. If I make a connection and I do business with them in 12 months' time, and I've made money and I've got profit in the bank, brilliant. I play the long game with everything. Everything I play the long game with. And if you play the long game, you've more chance of succeeding. A lot of people jump from idea to idea. They get what you call it, shiny object syndrome. They see a lot of online opportunities, for example, and they'll try something for a month and it won't work. Then they'll jump onto something else and try that. You got to stick with something. You got to stick with it and play the long game. Patience.
Learn your data. Or analyze it. I like it. That's a great 100%. Share. Failure data. Brilliant. I'll take that one forward, and I'll nick that one off you, I think, and you use it.
With pleasure.
Good share. Thank you. So what is inspiring you at the moment? Or perhaps through what you do? Might be podcasts, friends, family, people that you work with.
Well, something that I started a couple of years ago was because I've been in the business for a long, long time. What I decided to do was start an education side to my business, actually teaching people how to do what I do. So I'm not like a lot of these gurus that teach stuff, but they don't actually do it themselves. I actually do what I teach, and I teach what I do. So I started creating, I created a coaching program, literally getting people set up in this business anywhere in the world and actually teaching them exactly what I do. But obviously the new modern way, which is obviously the online way, not the old way before the internet. So everything I do in my business and the way I make money now, buying and selling goods, it's all 100% online. So I started to teach this to students, and they started getting results and they started making money. And that is an amazing thing for me to see, that I can actually, what I do is proven, and I've proven that by getting other people doing it and getting them achieving results and money in the bank and literally changing other people's lives. They're learning from me, and that gives me great pleasure. Not just me doing deals and making money, it gives me as much pleasure seeing my students getting results and making money as well, on the back of learning what I teach them. So that's something that I'm really enjoying at the moment.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Very inspiring. Watching other people benefit from that 30 years of knowledge that you've had. Got. Fantastic. Cool. So lastly, is there any sort of latest news that you'd like to share around your business, what you do? So it could be simply just directing us towards a website, anything like that. Feel free to share.
Really just what I just spoke about really is just the coaching side, because the thing is now is it kind of coincides a lot with what I'm seeing a lot of and what I'm seeing in the media, where we've got rising living costs and there's a lot of people in jobs who are on salaries, but with the rising living costs and inflation and that kind of thing, what I'm trying to hit home with people is that there are ways to make an extra income stream. And a lot of people just don't realize they're in this 9-to-5 cycle and they're on that fixed income and that's it. And, with rising living costs, etc., their salary is shrinking. And what I'm trying to hit home with people is that there are opportunities out there that you can do, even if you have limited time. And the program that I've built is really aimed at people who are stuck on what I call a fixed income, or they're a one income type person and they haven't got any other streams of income. And that's just so dangerous nowadays, because the way it's going at the moment, people are going to end up in trouble financially, literally paying the bills. So, what I'm teaching people is that there's a way of doing something online on the side of your 9-to-5 where you can make an extra income stream very easily with limited time, without putting too much time into it. And that's basically what I'm promoting, is my program to people.
So how can people get involved? Where should we go?
Yeah, so basically I created a free training, like a webinar, which teaches people how to do what I do, but without investing any money into any products, without being an expert, and without actually without putting any money down on, literally without buying stock and bringing it into a warehouse. We do it all without seeing it, without seeing any stock or touching any stock. So I'm moving pallet loads and truckloads of goods each week, but I never see it, I never touch it, I never own it, and I never use my own money to pay for it either. So I've got a free web training. If anyone's curious on how I do this, you might be. You know, because people think, how do you do this? How do you buy and sell stuff without seeing it or without touching it, and without using your own money? How are you doing this? Well, I've got a web training showing exactly how this works, and it's at www.surplustradersecrets.com/WTC.
Cool.
Surplustradersecrets.com/WTC.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I'm sure we'll be checking it out. It definitely sounds of interest and something of its time right now, as you mentioned, in terms of the way things are going. I like your thinking. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for all those shares. Plenty to learn. All the best for everything. I hope it goes from strength to strength for you.
Many thanks. Appreciate you asking me anyway. Thank you very much.